Today, I'll be giving a presentation on the rising prevalence of neurodegenerative diseases. By 2050, the number of people living with dementia worldwide is projected to triple, reaching a staggering 153 million individuals, according to the Lancet Public Health 2022. So, why do I believe that this topic is so important to bring to your attention today? Well, with this in mind, have you ever considered that your future brain health is shaped by what you do today? While these diseases are often associated with the elderly, the foundations for prevention and the resulting societal economic burdens are issues that will directly impact our generation. Also, the issue is relevant in today's undergraduate curriculum for training young health professionals like me. Some of these relevant courses, as you can see, that I've taken are effective neuroscience, advanced principles of neuroscience, cognition, and learning and behavior, all of which dementia has come up again and again. So it is a very relevant topic in today's world. This recurring topic always piqued my interest because of how differently it affects each of the inflicted individuals, but also because of how devastating the effects can be. As neurological diseases become an increasingly global health concern, it's vital to understand three primary aspects. One, the biological nature of these diseases. Two, the modern lifestyle and contributing factors that are driving this rising prevalence. And three, the proactive preventative measures we can take to safeguard our cognitive health. Moving on to my first point. In this speech, to understand why these diseases are first on the rise, we must look under the microscope at what is actually happening within the human brain. So, what exactly are neurodegenerative diseases and how do they occur? Well, they are diseases characterized by the progressive loss of structure and/or the function of neurons. And this leads to a significant decline in both cognitive health and physical health. This loss of function and brain structure is due primarily to the progressive accumulation of beta amyloid plaques and neurofibrillary tangles, which cause cell toxicity and eventually cell death. You can think of it like a factory assembly line creating broken parts. Eventually, these misfolded proteins clog the machinery of the brain, and they interrupt cell communication until the brain can no longer function. This degeneration causes other areas to upregulate their activity to try and compensate for the loss of activity, and this causes these areas to burn out as well and die. And so this degeneration really spreads like an infectious virus, eating away at the other surviving parts of the brain. So why should you care about it? Because as I said, that the effects are unpredictable. They affect everybody in a different way, depending on the areas that are eaten away. So there is no way to tell how it'll affect you. Secondly, there is no known treatment as of right now, which is pretty scary. There's no way to help these individuals. There's only ways to deal with the symptoms and to treat the symptoms. There's no way to treat the disease, so we need to fix that. This needs to be researched more. And the third main point that we'll talk about and why you should care about this is that their major symptoms are memory loss and impaired motor coordination. So if you've ever known somebody with Huntington's or Parkinson's disease, they'll often shake and have tremors. They can't control their movements. And Alzheimer's and other dementia patients, Parkinson's as well, they have trouble trying to remember things. So like your 21st birthday or the birth of your kid, those core memories could be erased by these diseases. So it's pretty devastating. It should be pretty important to all of us that we don't have to face this problem. So now, moving on from that, what are some preventative measures we can take and that you can take in your life, in your day-to-day life? Well, one of the studies that I want to call out in my speech is by Shokri Kajori and the rest of his team. They found that after one night of sleep deprivation, that the beta amyloid plaques, and that if you see on the slide, ABB stands for beta amyloid burden, which is just saying the amount of beta amyloid plaques. But basically, there's a significant amount in the hippocampus after one night of sleep deprivation, and that to them signified that that sleep is essential. Even one night of sleep is essential in preventing the buildup of this plaque. And as you can see in a picture on the bottom right, on the left side of the diagram is a healthy brain, and on the right is one that's facing neurodegeneration. You can see those little red balls are the plaque, just the junk of the brain. And if that's not cleared out at night through the lymphatic system, then that'll build up, and the neurons can no longer synapse on the axon of the neuron because it's blocked by the red junk. And so it prevents the cell communication. There's no more activity happening between the areas, and these areas begin to die off. And so you see more gray-brown in the diagram on the right because there is less brain volume, less brain matter, because it has all died off and all the connections are gone. So now that we understand the internal biological short circuit, we must examine the external modern factors that are accelerating this process. The prevalence of these diseases is escalating due to an aging global population and modern lifestyle factors, such as high-frequency AI use and the digital tool dependency on cognitive load. So first, let's cover what aging global population means and why it's important. So nowadays, we have better diagnostic technology. It's much easier to spot somebody with dementia. So of course, the number of cases of dementia are going to go up as technology improves. Also, lifespan is increasing across the world, and as lifespan increases, our brains are kind of outliving their lifespans per se. So we're now finding new issues because our brains have never lived this long before, and so yeah, our brains are aging, and that's part of the process. So that's the aging global population. Now let's talk about some modern lifestyle factors that are driving the rising prevalence, one of which is AI and other technology tools which reduce our cognitive load. And as you can see, I found some research that shows that tools like ChatGPT can lead to cognitive offloading, reducing neural connectivity in areas like memory, responsible for memory and executive function. So what that's saying is by handing off the work for the AI to do, we're kind of turning off those areas of our brain, and they're no longer communicating, they're not being active, and they're not clearing out that junk. So it's causing more buildup of those beta amyloid plaques, and you're more likely to develop dementia with heavy AI and technology use. Now, in what ways can we moderate our technology use to prevent or slow disease onset? Well, excessive AI use, like I said, has been linked to 32% reduction in cognitive load, and it weakens critical thinking scores. So essentially, we just want to move from a state of dependency to a state of collaboration with the AIs. And lastly, what are some proactive and preventative measures? Individuals can take proactive steps by maintaining cognitive reserve through specific lifestyle changes and mindful technology habits. So cognitive reserve is the brain's ability to improvise and find alternate ways of getting a task done. And this can be improved throughout lifelong learning and through brain challenging exercises. So you can kind of think of this as like cross training for your brain. It's creating backup pathways so that if one of these circuits, one of these pathways short circuits, as I explained earlier, then it can rely on another pathway, another connection. And so you're not so screwed by relying on these single pathways for one process to happen. And so it kind of reduces that severity that the dementia would have, because you'd have alternate routes to be able to recall memories. So what are some methods of intervention that we can put into place in our life? Well, many studies have shown that regular physical activity, like walking 10,000 steps a day, it's pretty well known and nuanced, but it's very true that it's the single most accessible way to fight off neurodegeneration as well as many other diseases. So get your steps in, get some exercise. It helps to clear out that junk along with sleep. Not as much as sleep, but it still helps. And then moving your body isn't just for your heart, it pumps the nutrients and the oxygen to your brain. So when you're moving, it's feeding your brain, it's fuel. So it's really important that we don't just sit around, we don't just hand off the work to the AI to do. We need to keep our brains active and moving and communicating. So we need to be more mindful with our technology habits. Conscious use of AI for repetitive tasks can free the brain for complex work. So we can kind of use it for more simple tasks to get to more complex work. But we have to be very careful with that, with deep work zones, and keep them free from digital interruptions. So just got to be more proactive with our AI use. Um, yeah, and that's my three main points. So in today's speech, that's what we covered. Our first point was how neurodegenerative diseases short-circuit the brain through protein misfolding. Number two was how our modern digital environment creates a cognitive debt. And number three was how we can use cognitive lifestyle changes to build a lasting cognitive reserve. So while we cannot fully stop the clock on aging, the power to protect the human in our brains rests in the choices that we make today, both you and I, starting with how we choose to engage with the world around us. Here are some of my sources that I recommend you go and check out if you appreciated my work, and I appreciate your all's attention for today. Thank you for listening. Bye.